Have you got nothing to do in your survival Minecraft world? Maybe you think you've created everything possible and there's just nothing else to do.
Not a chance.
So in this video, I'll be showing you 14 different projects you can create in your survival or creative world simply to look cool. They aren't really intended to serve much of a function and are mainly meant to be things you just build simply because you can. Alright, let's get into the tour of the first build. So starting off, let's take a look at the medieval dam. Now this build would be quite the project as you actually have to build this entire dam of course, and then you have to fill up the side behind it with a bunch of water, preferably to be much higher than the water down below. As you can see, the water is like almost touching the top of the bridge here, and then on this side it's like kind of trickling out through the separate holes down here. And so taking a look around the exterior of this build, as you can see we have the actual water section here. We have a nice little gradient with some moss blocks, mossy cobblestone, mossy stone bricks, and then into stone bricks finally. And that gives it a really nice effect in the water as if it's been kind of corroding or like growing moss on it or whatever. We've also got a bunch of nice leaves around the place kind of just hanging out. And yeah, and then we transition into some nice wood up here. We got two little towers on the left and right side, and that of course leads into a bridge as well. So this is like a dam and a bridge of course, so it leads to the other side. So just say you have like a regular bridge that's kind of high up, you could just convert it into this dam. And yeah, so that's all there really is to this first build. Also, just as a side note, if you want to create any of these, feel free to check out the link in the description for all of the tutorial videos for each of these builds. Next up, we have the Grand Library. Now this build video comes in two different versions. You can build this in an ultimate survival base, or you can also convert it into a Grand Library. So heading through the front door, as you can see, we have an enchanting area, which of course is useful, and that's the only thing useful in this entire build. The rest of it is purely aesthetic. On the left side here, we have a nice little library area. Same thing on the right side, it is just mirrored. Then heading up the stairs, we have a nice library area. A lot of bookshelves, a lot of different accents and stuff like that. Decorations, we got candles, lecterns, pot plants and stuff. Then we can head up to the ladder into the private library area. We have a nice little like ladder design that you'd climb up to get to the higher shelf books. And yeah, some nice table and chairs in here, just a little private area. And then heading up to the final area up here, we have kind of the offhand storage. Doesn't get used very much, as you can see, there's a lot of cobwebs everywhere, needs a bit of cleaning. And yeah, just some chests, barrels, and yeah. And yeah, so that's pretty much all there is to the Grand Library build. Next up, we're on to the Torii Gate Nether Portal. And this build is of course pretty simple. All we have is a bridge that goes over a nice stream here. We have our pathway that of course leads up to our Torii Gate portal. Now this is just a pretty standard Torii Gate, except it is 3 blocks wide instead of your usual 1 block wide. And it's also pretty tall as well. And in the middle, we of course have our Nether portal right here. On the left and right side over here, we have some nice Zen gardens with some bamboo, some rocks, lanterns, and little stones as well. We've also got little stones along our water stream here with some lily pads. We've got some campfires under the water here to give a nice kind of steaming water effect that you'd see in like some Zen gardens and stuff. I don't really know if it's meant to mean like the water is hot or something, but it just makes it look more zen, I guess. Now you'll have to forgive me as the tutorial for this one is pretty old on my channel, so it might not be as polished as some of my more current tutorials. But one thing I'd also recommend doing is changing the pathway. Previously it was just completely stone bricks, there was nothing else to it, and I'd recommend adding in some stone and andesite for texture. Now onto the mining outpost. So this build pretty much just consists of a couple of towers. We've got 2 little ones at the front and a bigger one at the back right side, and we also have some nice walls connecting these up as well. And you'd want to build this around an existing mountain, or you could just create the mountain if you really wanted to. And in the side of this mountain, we have our mine entrance on the inside of this area here. We also have this gate here that leads us up into the mine entrance. And we can also take the path along to the towers on the sides, and we can actually climb up the ladders if we really wanted to, just to defend our base from creepers or anything of the sort. So both of these towers are accessible, and this back one is accessible as well. In here, we've also got some nice storage, and we have a couple of levels. We've got more storage here, and then we just got more storage. You can of course put whatever the hell you want in here, and then this one of course leads up to the very top with some more storage, and we have our nice flag as well. Heading back down here, we have our mine entrance of course, and heading in here we have more storage. Okay, there's a lot of storage in here. I don't know why there's so much. And on the right side, we have our smelting area. And then this, of course, leads down to our mine that goes to here because I'm lazy. And heading back up, you can see we have a nice minecart track as well that leads out here. And we have our kind of minecart station. And you can just press any of these buttons to send the minecarts on their way. You might have to add an extra powered rail. And this one as well. Yeah, And you can of course use this lever to flick between the different tracks. So if you wanted this to go back over to here, you can just do that. If you want this minecart to go to here, you can flick it, and yeah, you get the point. Now out here we have a few extra little decorations. We have some ore piles with some coal and iron. And yeah, just quickly taking a look around the outside, as you can see, we just have a simple medieval theme. The walls for this are meant to be kind of modular. You just build them around your existing landscape, and I'm pretty sure I go more in depth with it in the tutorial. And we also have some nice texture with some stone and cracked stone bricks as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the mining outpost build. So for this one, we have a regular fishing dock, and this one consists of a nice little bridge, of course, that leads out into the ocean. Over here we have our boat docking area, so whenever you'd go out and fish, you can just come back here and park your boat up like so. Over here we have a little fishing hut just with some storage. You'd store your fish and stuff in here. It's meant to kind of look like a shop front, but you'd use it of course just to store your fish and fishing rods and other fishing needs. Now this over here was meant to be a kind of boat rack. You're supposed to kind of put the boats here and just like push them in. It's kind of hard to do now. You used to be able to just place them in there, but you can't really do it anymore. There might still be a way you can like kind of push them in, but I'm not entirely sure, unfortunately. And then finally over here we have our actual fishing platform. So you just stand up here, grab out your fishing rod or anything, and just fish off this little platform. And now that leads us on to our ultimate fishing dock, which is my newest edition of fishing dock. I think I've made like 3 or 4 fishing docks now, so this is probably the best one I've made so far, I would say. So the entrance for this one is over here on land, of course, and that leads us over to our giant pier out here. This is our fishing area. We just stand on one of these little ledges and fish off. And then heading back over here, this is our boat docking area. So of course you just place your boat here and use this to park up and leave. Under here we have a nice couple of decorations. We got a little boat here, some barrels and random stuff. We have a crane here as well, which of course does not serve a function whatsoever. And then that leads us to our actual base area over here. Unlike the previous one, you can actually live here. So heading in through the front door, we have our smelting area, a little bit of storage and an anvil. We've got some crafting blocks over here, some more storage as well. Heading up the ladder, we have our bedroom with some more storage and some more smelting. This door over to the right here leads us out to our balcony with just more storage for some reason. I don't know why there's so much storage in this, but yeah. And you can use this ledge here to jump out onto your roof if you really wanted to and just kind of vibe, you know. Now these last 8 builds are kind of smaller things that you create in like a town as just a little structure or something interesting to put in there. And I'm just going to rapid fire these off because they're just smaller builds and it's just easy to do that way. So right now we're up on my build platform. As you can see, there's a whole bunch of just random crap everywhere. And these are the first 4 town structures. So this one here, we have a nice little pond with a bridge leading both ways. The idea of this is you'd kind of put it in the center of your town. So all the pathways leading out would continue going. And this is like, yeah, just where the center of your town would be, I guess. Now that's the same thing over here for the fountain. We've just kind of replaced the pond here with just a nice fountain. For this one over here, we have the same thing once again, except it's a nice gazebo. This one has a nice step up and you could put in some random stuff up here if you really wanted to. And then over here we have our nice custom tree, which is probably my favorite out of the 8 town structure designs. Even though it looks pretty complicated, it is very, very easy to build. So be sure to check out the tutorial for this one if you want to learn how to make a nice tree like this. Now onto the final 4 town center designs. This one is pretty much the exact same as the gazebo, except we've converted it into a well. All you really have to do is add in these fence gates and this fence here with a cauldron, and then just kind of dig a big hole in the center and you've pretty much just turned it into a well. For the next one, we have just a nice statue with a garden around it. That's all there is to it. For the next one, we have a kind of town market. The whole idea for this is kind of just like the starting point, and you'd kind of repeat these 4 designs as you expand it outwards as far as you want. Obviously change the different colored wool between the roofs to make them look more different and change like the decorations on top of here. But yeah, this is just kind of the basis for you to expand into a full little town square thing. Now to the next one, we have a failed design that didn't make it into the video. It was just kind of weird. It was like a little gallows. It was just a bit whack. So there's no tutorial for this one. I don't think you'd want to build this anyway. Now that leads us onto the final build, which is a nice bell tower. I'm sorry about the backdrop being this black freaking concrete. This was for a different video, my liminal spaces, so feel free to check that out if you want. But yeah, this one's just a nice bell tower. As you can see, our bell is up in here, so you can ring this if you have any actual villagers living in your base, and they'll all run and hide inside. And yeah, this has 4 pathways leading into it, which has 4 doors on each side. It looks kind of weird inside, and yeah, the whole purpose of it is not obviously to be entered, it's just to look cool. And yeah, so that's it for all 14 project ideas. Once again, if you want to create any of these for yourself, feel free to head into the description and you'll find the link to all of them and their corresponding tutorials. And so if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for future videos just like this one. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.